Based in Ponders End Mill, Enfield, Wright's Bakers are London's last remaining working mill. With 140 years of milling know-how, the family business have been running for over 5 generations and today mill 1,500 tonnes of flour per week. With nearly 4 million Brits baking at least once a month and almost £600 million spent on baking ingredients last year alone, home baking is firmly back in vogue. This has allowed the family-run mill to flourish, now not simply producing the ingredients, but inspiring the nation with mouth-watering baking recipes.
Britons love the smell of freshly baked bread, but they seem to think it's a really long and drawn-out process. It's really not. I'm going to show you this quick and simple, easy recipe to make roasted walnut and Parmesan bread. For this recipe, you need a 500 gram pack of Wright's premium white bread mix. I've got some walnuts, fresh rosemary, Parmesan, I've got some sea salt flakes, some honey, and some olive oil. To kick off this recipe, the first thing we need to do is get our Wright's premium white bread mix into the bowl. This is a 500 gram mix, so it's perfectly weighed out for 1 loaf of bread. And then we've got 320 mils of water straight in, and this is the last bit of measuring that you need to do. Just leave a little bit at the end there, and then get your hand into the bowl. Kind of put your hand into a claw motion like that, and then just start rolling it around the bowl, and just keep rolling it around, you know, a little bit like a mixer would do. And as you can see, the dough will start to come together as a ball. So you can see now that it's almost clean from the bowl and it's all on your hand. So basically just throw it onto the worktop, put the bowl to one side, and then with your other hand, just a little dusting of flour. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. And then using the palm of your hand, push the dough away and then pull it back over itself. And just keep kneading it until it's a really nice, smooth and silky dough. So once you've kneaded the dough for sort of 5 minutes or so, and it's really easy to move about the worktop, and it's all nice and silky and smooth, just kind of roll it up, tuck the dough under itself, and then we're just going to pop that into a bowl and let that prove for 30 minutes somewhere warm. So while the bread's proving, we just need to roast the walnuts. So if you take a handful and it into a pan, this is a non-stick pan and it's just on the heat, so it's just kind of quite warm now. And then in with a touch of olive oil. This will help them go really nice and golden. And then we'll season those with a nice pinch of sea salt. Once the walnuts start to get really golden and you can hear them crackle, if you take the rosemary and just kind of strip the green leaves off and then straight into the pan, and you'll hear them all kind of crackle and get really sort of frazzling, and this will infuse all that rosemary flavour in with the walnuts. So just give that a second, and then we're going to add in the honey. Now this is going to work really well with the saltiness of the nuts that we've already added to this. So just half a teaspoon will be fine. And then just shake the pan around and make sure the nuts get coated with all the salt and all the honey. And we just turn the heat off, and then we'll put those to one side to cool. So our bread dough has now doubled in size. It's really light and fluffy. All you need to do is just scoop it out onto the worktop and then just dust it with a little bit of flour, just so it's easy to use. And then you don't need a rolling pin for this, just use your hands and just kind of turn it over, stretch it out, press it out. We want it into a rectangular shape. So once you get it to that nice rectangular shape, we're just going to scatter these walnuts all over the bread. And then I want to top it with some nice grated Parmesan cheese, and this will just give it a wonderful flavour. So just grate it straight on. You can put as much or as little as you like of Parmesan cheese. So just kind of move the nuts all over the bread so that everyone will get a nice crunch as they slice into this bread. And then take it and just fold it into itself. And then just start kneading again. And what that'll do is make sure that all the walnuts and the Parmesan are evenly distributed through the bread. So once the dough becomes really nice and manageable and easy to move around the worktop, just kind of roll the dough and take your hands kind of like at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock and just put them either side of the bread dough and just turn it and keep turning it, and you'll end up with this really nice, smooth, round loaf. I'm going to make an oval shaped loaf here, so just kind of squeeze it, roll it into itself, and you'll end up with this nice kind of bloomer shaped loaf. Then I've got a baking tray just lined with some parchment paper. Just gently push your hands underneath the loaf and just pop it on there. And then we're going to let that prove for at least sort of 30 to 40 minutes till it doubles in size. So now the dough has doubled in size, just take a sharp knife and just score some nice cuts into there. And what this will do is it'll really help develop the crust and it'll make an amazing loaf of bread. Just dust it with a little bit of flour and that's it, into the oven. 210 degrees for about 25 minutes till it's golden brown. So this bread smells absolutely fantastic. Now the best way to check that this is cooked is just pop the loaf onto a tea towel in your hand, and if it sounds hollow, then you know it's cooked all the way through. So just pop that on there. And then I've got a good bread knife here. I'm just going to take a few slices. This bread is going to go really well with a nice stew or a warming soup. It's going to be the perfect partner.